Former Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews has been branded a useful idiot and a traitor after attending a Chinese military parade where President Xi Jinping declared China's rise unstoppable while surrounded by dictators and allies, including Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Andrews sat amongst the leaders of the axis of evil, watching the Chinese Communist Party show off its military might. The man dubbed Dictator Dan seemed at home in Beijing. Now, the current Victorian Premier Jacinta Allan has refused to condemn Dan Andrews' attendance. In fact, she actually supports it. She said it was good for Victoria that he is held in such high regard by the people of China, and that Victoria is an old friend of China and these connections are so valuable for our state. Joining me now for more on this is Menzies Research Centre Senior Fellow Nick Cater. Nick, we've had widespread condemnation of Dan Andrews, even from some Labor heavyweights, but not from the current Premier and not from the Prime Minister.
No, and I'd like to hear it from the current Premier because I gather she's going to China shortly on a business venture. We need some transparency here, don't we? I mean, we can carry on about what an idiot and how disrespectful Andrews was for going, but there needs to be some transparency around who paid his fare, which part of the plane he flew in, where he's staying in Beijing, who's paying for all that, and what his private business arrangements are that could impact on the people of Victoria. Because this is as it stands at the moment, it's just it just strikes me as all too convenient. Well,
I would say the PM has been quite happy with what's happened, because though there's plenty of condemnation, they know that the Chinese community would probably be very happy about this. And that voting bloc, and I am generalising here, don't like to see criticism of China. And when they see someone like Dan Andrews pay respect to the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party, attend a military parade, I think the Prime Minister can see some political capital in that.
He thinks he can, but I don't think that the entire Chinese community backs this. I mean, of course, they're patriotic, they love their country, but they don't love their government. They don't love this particular government, and I hear from enough of them to know that, although, of course, they're very fearful to even speak about it.
Nick, you mentioned personal gain, and the Australian Financial Review reports on the personal boost Dan Andrews' attendance will earn the former Victorian Premier. They report it took 10 seconds for Andrews to stride down the red carpet and shake Xi Jinping's hand, but it will open doors for him in China for years to come. That lengthy handshake, Nick, could be a goldmine for Dan Andrews.
Yeah, and look, he's trading on the fact that he was Premier for a long time, right? That's the only reason the man's got any status whatsoever. So he's using that to feather his own nest with business deals, and we don't know about them. And we should know about them if the government of Victoria is going to be involved. I think it's just, it just stinks, really. It stinks from top to bottom. But as usual with Dan Andrews, transparency is not really his thing, is it?
No, it never has been. Now, staying in Victoria, the state has been branded the car theft capital of the country, with insurance claims surging 60% in a year. New data from Insurance Statistics Australia reveals the staggering rise in car theft claims in the state. And Nick, Victoria was the only state that had a surge, and a massive surge at that. Every other state had a drop in car theft claims.
It's a wonder, isn't it? I mean, you've got to keep asking yourself, why do these terrible things keep happening in Victoria? Yes. Could it be anything to do with the attitude of the government and the police force, perhaps? But could criminals be looking at the soft treatment that they're given by the police force and exploiting it? Surely not. But,
no, surely.
You know, that happens, right? I mean, I was driving down to Melbourne last year, and suddenly a car which would have been doing easily 160k sped past me in the outside lane. And I thought, well, there's a police car down there. You get caught, but of course the police car is forbidden from chasing. So you get that, you get chaos.
There's plenty of chaos in Victoria, but moving on to national matters, the Liberal Senator Jane Hume has come under fire from Conservative lobby group Advance over her support for net zero. And she's now posted a response to that criticism on social media.
In all seriousness, in this job there will always be a lobby group that doesn't agree with you. And this time it's Advance, and that's okay. It's healthy to have debate. But I'm not a member of the Advance Party, I'm a member of the Liberal Party. I agree with my former colleague, now the Secretary-General of the OECD, Matthias Cormann. He says that Australia needs to move on. The question now is, how do we get to a low emissions future for the least cost to businesses and households? Supporting net zero does not mean I support what Anthony Albanese and Chris Bowen are doing to this country. That's ideological and economic sabotage. There are other ways. I want my party to adopt a policy that lowers emissions by 2050, provides energy abundance, starting with gas, protects family budgets and keeps the lights on, all the while eliminating dependence on taxpayer-funded subsidies for proven technologies. These things are not mutually exclusive.
Nick, she says this lady's not for turning, but Jane Hume is no Margaret Thatcher, and I would argue she's part of the reason why the Liberals are unelectable right now, coming out in support of net zero. I thought the party didn't have a position on this policy at the moment. They're under review, like everything else.
Well, it can't be under review for much longer. They have to have a policy, obviously, and that's the problem at the moment. It's just hanging there. They need to do whatever reviewing they need to do in double quick time and come up with a sensible position, and I'm sure you and I agree with that.
Did you see that as a sensible position,
exactly,
what was stated there? And I played
sure.
it in full because I didn't want to be unfair to Jane Hume. I wanted to play in full what she herself put out on her social media pages, and I can't see that winning elections.
I wonder who she asked whether this was a good thing before
Yeah.
she did it, because I think she could have asked 10 people in the coalition and they would have said, no, don't do it. Why throw attention to it? I'll tell you what, it's a big feather in the cap for Advance that she goes to all this trouble to respond to this, and I think she would have been better not doing so. I understand there are differences in the party over this, but they're going to have to come eventually to the position that they're going to scrap zero 2050, whether it's now or 3 years' time. Inevitably, they'll get there.
Well, they absolutely have to scrap it if they actually are interested in forming government at some point. And what's it going to look like when they do that, when they abandon net zero? And you know you've got a high-profile senator who's just come out in support of it days or perhaps weeks earlier if they take that long to announce a position. How divided is the party room on this issue?
Well, clearly very divided, because you've got people speaking out on both sides. And Jane Hume, let's not forget, was dropped from the front bench team by the current leader. I'm not quite sure why.
Which is interesting, because ideologically they seem to be aligned.
Yeah, and she's also a very talented performer, I think. You can see from there she's a good media performer.
Yeah, just the substance of what she says, that's troubling.
Yeah, exactly.
We had Andrew Hastie on Sky News saying that he believes the majority of the party room wants to abandon net zero. If there was a vote, that it would go. Do you have any inkling of what that split is? Are we talking 55-45? Are they that divided? Or is there just a normal state of affairs where you've got a few loud voices of these smaller Liberals who are clinging on for dear life?
I haven't done the numbers, but there are a very large number of people in there who want to abandon net zero. I think for a lot of them it's working out how you can do it, because having taken that position under Scott Morrison, they now have to basically turn around and say why it's wrong. I don't think that's hard, incidentally. You've only got to look at what Chris Bowen is doing and to say, well, we thought it was a good idea at the time, but clearly it's not. I mean, Chris Bowen is demonstrating daily why net zero 2050 won't work and is a crazy idea from the point of view of our economy.
And we only have to look at countries around the world, so we don't even have to look at our own experience, which is we've got some experience now with what it has done to pricing and the pressure on businesses and households, but you only have to look at what's happened across a number of countries in Europe to see why this would be a disastrous plan. It's a very, very easy policy to abandon. And let's not forget what they embraced net zero at 2021, and since then they've lost 2 elections in landslides. You know, if you want to win elections, let it go. Now, before you go, Nick, popular bath bomb retailer, I'm sure you're a fan of Lush, they've shut down all of their UK shops in a day of solidarity for Gaza, putting up posters calling on Israel to stop starving Gaza in all their shop fronts. Nick, I, for one, would be grateful if these shops are also closed in Australia, because I don't know if you've ever walked past one of their stores. The stench is unbelievable. It should be delightful because it's supposed to be all soaps, but it's a weird smell. What do you make of this activism? Can we actually say at least they're putting their money where their mouth is? It's not just empty posturing. They are doing something, even if you don't agree with their position.
I've never shopped there. I wish I had, because then I could announce that I'm going to boycott it. It wouldn't mean much right now. Look, I think it's extraordinary what they're doing, but the point is, it's all virtue signalling, is it? Nothing else. I mean, what effect is this going to have on the ground in Gaza? Are people going to sort of emerge from the rubble of their house and say, "Oh, have you heard the good news?
Lush
has
closed their
stopped
stores.
selling stuff today for our benefit." Oh, it's just ridiculous.
Well, you know what? I think maybe me saying they're showing a bit of substance here, it's probably just a PR exercise because it's being reported on widely. They're getting headlines around the world for this stance. So perhaps it's just a PR move, some cheap marketing. Nick Cato, thank you for your time tonight.